path of least resistance. So instead of being able to trickle down through the rock, it'll actually rise up through the ground. So say one summer you come out, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since it last rained, and all of a sudden the yard's a little wet and smelly. That means you have a backup, or that means that that means that the drain field is failing. Now I could not find the drain fields themselves. Depending on
bad?
No, it depending on the soil. So when they put the drain fields in, they do what's called a perk test.
Yeah.
It depends how deep they are. A yard this big, sometimes they can be a little bit more difficult to find. We look at the topography of the land, and sometimes you can kind of see little divots in the ground where the drain fields are, where it's kind of settled. I didn't hit anything, but what we do look for, so when we probe down like this, as I did throughout the yard.
You came through something.
It's bone dry. That's good.
That's good.
That's
okay,
good.
Great. Okay.
So even with all the rain that we've had, that's pretty good. So that basically what that tells me is that there's no sewage backing up into the yard. Nothing's spilling anywhere or anything like that.
I like good news.
So yeah, that's definitely good news. So
great.
Usually we like to have where the drain fields are, and we do request the county records. They have about 30 days to get out to us, and usually most counties take the 30 days to get out to us. So we'll actually know where those are. We'll forward those
once
along
we get
to
them
you.
in like 30 days, and that'll be before settlement, so that's great. Okay.
But for the absorption area, probing the general area, not finding any kind of biomat, abnormal moisture is basically what we're looking for. If I'm out there and I see that biomat, or it's very like thick, and sometimes there's a smell to it, not all the time, then it'd be cause for concern. But also, the other way of determining that the drain fields are functioning, or that the absorption area is functioning, is we do what's called a hydraulic load. So I'm running a bathtub right now, which is roughly about 5, give or take 5 gallons per minute.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a total of 200 gallons right now. I'm about 3 minutes away from having it be 200 gallons. This liquid level has not risen.
And that's good.
Yes. So that means the water is leaving the tank and going into the absorption area. If there was, with 200 gallons being in here, if there was a backup, that means there would be a clog in the line, or if there was a break in the line, it might back up, or you'd see surfacing water, which is not the case walking up and down between here and the fence down there. But we'd like to determine where exactly those drain fields are and how many you have.
Okay.
Now with drain fields, the key is it's never a question of if they fail. It's always when they will. A question of when they fail. They will fail. That's a guarantee. They will fail, because little by little that bacteria breaks down the solids. It forms the biomat over time.
All right. How long do they usually last?
It depends. And this is the important part for the buyers to know. The more often you have this tank cleaned out, the longer those are going to last.
Great.
Because the more you have all this sucked down.
So every 2 years. They should really be doing it on the dot.
Right.
Okay.
And if every 2 years, if they come out and, there's not much
maybe
solids.
They extend to 3 years.
Right. But I would say for starters, when they move in, there's only 12 inches now, so that it doesn't need to be pumped down now. When they move in, I would say within a year, have it pumped down. Then after that, try 2 years, and then you can always go for 3. Go with 2 on the safe side.
Okay.
So there's no backup occurring right now. So the more often they have this cleaned out, the less solids will escape. Because if you don't have this cleaned out frequently, the more solids are going to be on the tank, the more solids are going to escape out there.
Obviously.
And then that creates expedites the process of the bacteria breaking that down, and more solids to create biomat. So, and that's pretty much it. On that postcard I gave you, there are a few do's and don'ts on there. Don't put any kind of feminine products down. Do they have any babies or very young?
No.
Okay.
3, 4. So maybe troublemaking age.
That should be fine. Yeah. Watch. Something like if someone flushes like a Lego down the toilet, that's likely not going to cause any issues. Usually, the reason I ask is because sometimes folks will use like baby wipes or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes some of the feminine products, some of the baby wipes will say septic friendly or biodegradable.
But they're still not a great idea
regardless. No, because they expand in the tank.
Yeah.
They will break down, but sometimes it takes like 10, 15 years for them to break down.
Not a good idea. Got it.
And if the back baffle's missing, it can cause a clog in the front line. It can cause a clog in the back line. So just don't do anything like that. Another thing that a lot of folks don't know is trying to use when using detergents for laundry, and
always use the liquid kind.
The liquid, yes.
The listing agent lives 2 doors down, so she's very friendly with that stuff. So she was talking to us a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, you want to do that, because if you don't, what'll happen is, the powder will dissolve inside the laundry unit.
Yep.
But when it gets out here, it'll recrystallize, reform, and it creates a solid concrete type cake, which they can't really pump out. They can't scrape it away when they come out to pump out the tank. So it kind of just stays there. It can create a clog in the back line, or also the bad news there is that you have a 1,500 gallon tank, and over time, as that builds up, now all of a sudden you have a 1,400 gallon tank. So, because it takes away from the amount of space that you have.
Okay.
But that is pretty much it. So the only thing that I see as an issue with this is the backwash line to the acid neutral. It's
the
either
small
the water
fix you were
conditioning.
talking about inside, and we can go inside and you can show me.
Yep,
Awesome.
I will show that to you, and that's